get that gas easier, rather than force himself to have to go all the way to the low left position, leave himself open. This way he can just transition and defend to the north, which is basically towards his enemy. So if you can actually, you're going to send your forces towards your enemy anyways. So this way, at least he has some more to do with that. Guardians effort is going to take this 9 o'clock anyway. Has 4 Guardians in there to defend that. So that using that greater sparsely. And I actually like that move. A lot of players go very, very all in on the Guardians, get 8 to 10 Guardians. And if those Guardians get taken out, that's just a huge investment in tech and resources that you just wasted on nothing. So at the very least, in that regard, I really like that effort, not going too all in, and it's just getting into Guardians as an auxiliary force. And of course, Guardians with Irradiate also just get raped. Just Irradiate kills them instantly. Really just gives them a lot of trouble. Weapons 1. Light's forces. Effort at the moment has 1 Carapace, and the Light is also working on Weapons 1 on his armor, armory. So we're gonna see what he's gonna be working on there. Gonna go with Science. So there are a couple of Scourge in there, so you want to be really careful, microing careful, and that gonna be able to take down his hatchery. I think with those Science in there, you gotta be forced to cancel. I'm just gonna camp in there. A few drones that were actually coming into that location gonna be killed. I think there are vultures and marines and everything waiting for them. Mines being put down all over the place. So Light, at the very least, trying to take some map control with mines, know where his opponent is at all times. Guardians finally going to start engaging these forces here at the 9 o'clock position. Science is just going to get a portion irradiate in one of those. 2 of those, they're going to die slow, painful deaths. And also, deal some damage to their buddies. And I really like the Light's actually kind of pushing out very... Oh, Scourge is so close but so far away from killing those Science Falls. But yeah, Light's pushing out very significantly tank heavy. He's not really trying to put on aggression. He's just playing a little bit defensively, splitting his tanks around so he can safely pick up the 3 o'clock position when he desires to. And I really like this play from him. It feels kind of TVP-ish in a small way, except he has a bunch of Medic Marines floating around, SCVs and scans coming off, everything trying to be spotted. Light trying to have constant control over the map, constant vision, and just those mines, even if they don't kill those zerglings, they have to really see, hey, there's something there running around, hey. Mines all over the place, and even though some of them get cleared, you have to really kind of have a spot on what's going on. Zerglings here at the 3 o'clock position, trying to clear this up. Marines, medics going to be in there, ready to make sure that nothing happens. Well, the command center lands at the 3 o'clock position. Zerglings going to engage the Marines, and the drone also going to come in there. That's not going to happen. So I'm really liking Light, doing a great job. Hasn't really taken any damage so far, despite he's had some early troop losses, but since then really done a great job of just staying in this, denying bases. Effort, meanwhile, has been forced to pick up the 12 o'clock position, not maybe quite the base he was gunning for, but he's going to have to live with it. Still on 4 gas, of course, the upper right in position, a double gas expo. So, every little bit of resource counts. Nice play. Well, yeah, is it? Nah, not that great, actually, now that I look at it. Thought he hit the Science Vessel as well, so that would have made it a decent plague, but only hit a few Marines and a medic. So might be able to take care of that threat. Oh my god, how was that a dud? That's crazy. Dud. 2 lurkers just gonna get in there, burrow down, a few Hydras gonna come in there, help this out. And I'm curious exactly as to what Light. He has weapons 1 on his tanks, going very heavily in tanks, so I think maybe he got those 3. Yeah, definitely is just producing vultures, not going for Goliath, so just producing a lot of vultures, producing a lot of tanks. Now going to start mining from his 4th base, get his 3rd gas going, and really like his little square at the upper right position. Has this little square bases 4. Light is square. Yeah, make your jokes, people. But 4 on 4, it's not a position a Zerg wants to be in. Sure, you have the same amount of gas, same amount of extractors as your opponent has. Well, actually, you have more extractors than your opponent has refineries, but you're still not in the best position because the Terran player can live off 3 gas for a decent amount of time. Effort finally going to clear up that 9 o'clock position, so you might want to pick up the additional gas there when the opportunity strikes himself. Has a lot of those Guardians out there. Bunk at the front, Science Vessels in there. A lot of Guardians, a lot of Zerglings streaming in to try to clear up some of these mines. Marines just going to they're going to get killed before they really do much against these Guardians. So Irradiate going to come in there. Of course, Effort splitting very well, but not really with the best. Doesn't seem like he was quite ready for that heavy amount of Guardians. Thought maybe the earlier Guardian threat was it, getting a few nice irradiates off. Not splitting them too beautifully, but forcing these forces back with just irradiates and medic Marines, and Guardians, of course, out in the open, not in the best position for them to be in. Still trying to shell at those tanks from range. You can open up the ground position so he can move in with his own lurkers and defilers. Scourge going to come in here, try to kill some of these Science Vessel, but Light way on top of this, just engaging these Guardians with foot soldiers and some nice irradiates getting off. Effort not even splitting there. So he's going to be able to clear off those Guardians. And you see, no, okay, maybe even Effort didn't go. I'm sorry, Light even didn't go for Zerg. He's trying to clearing some of those tanks up, but not too much damage overall, not too bad. Light's still holding, so doing a great job of that, although it has a few forces at the non-club position just to deny more than anything from what it seems. Adding in even more factories, and I think he might be thinking of, adding in a second armory right now, floating his eBay off, so he's going to transition into mech. Very Midas-like play, actually, now that I think about it. Might want to get some more might want to get some Goliaths out there now that I think about it. If he's going to go anti-air, or even get a few Valkyries or Wraiths, you know, that'll be a big help. Just that Effort has Mutalisks out there, and unfortunately for him, is going to morph them to Guardians, and he's lost a lot of Guardians already. And they didn't really do for him what he wanted. Now Light has some Goliaths out there, and Goliaths, you know, they take a few hits to take down, and with Charon boosters, they can go toe-to-toe against Guardians in enough number. Another commands are going to be added in by Light, so he's going to want to float that off towards the 6. And still 4-on-4 bases. Effort still hasn't picked off that. Now, he's been forever thinking of taking that 9. Finally going to plant down a hatchery there. And Light's been denying that base for a long time, trying to sneak some more vultures past. And Effort definitely looking like he's in a little bit of trouble. Finally going to go here, start showing this natural expo. Try to take out the command center before it even gets built. Guardians not quite in place, so just now Light, I think, trying to spot that out a little bit late in that. Guardians, of course, above that high ground. That's where you want them, because it's really hard for the opponent to engage them. Well, unless they have some air forces, and Light, of course, significantly lacking those, but did manage to force a cancel on that one single command center, but just going to get irradiated like crazy, going to be forced back. Goliath's doing a lot of damage to his Guardians. Only 3 Guardians going to stay alive from all of that. And they're just going to get irradiated. So very heavy irradiates being used on Guardians, because really Effort's not utilizing that many of his resources on Defilers. Going to expand to the low left-hand position. That's an additional double gas that he might take. Also going to expand to the inside 9. So he's kind of boxing Light in, and Light really has to start pushing out. Unfortunately, he's moving towards a mech army, which means his army is going to be a little bit less mobile unless he goes heavy on the vultures. But he doesn't. Still had some vultures out there, but I'm not quite sure whether he's going too heavily on that. But his army right now can take a significantly larger hit. Oh, man, big plague. Catching most of the tanks and some of the Goliaths as well. That's big play. It's, of course, also the significant disadvantage of a mech army. Even if they're mech and they're big and strong and broody, you're still going to get killed by plagues. Vulture's just going to come in here and do some damage at this 9 o'clock position, kill off all these drones, plant down some mines, be annoying. And Light went for an attack, didn't even see whether there was a drop or not, went for a huge attack here at the upper end position. There is a Dark Swarm, a couple of Dark Swarms are going to come off. Some Marines going to be forced back. Light just doing a little bit of damage. And Effort going to counter, drop, lose on Overlord before he even managed to do too much. Can lose some of those Overlords, but the Zerking is just going to pop out of there. Should have a Defiler to support to do some damage. Siege Tank's also going to go to the upper end position. And oh my god, Light supply depots all out in the open. Zerglings, you do not want to have a control group of Cracklings on top of your supply depots with nothing to contest them. That's going to be a supply block for Light right there. And also he's going to be threatened here on his defensive bridge. A lot of mines is going to be dragged in. Some of these Zerglings are going to go down, so Effort might not be able to penetrate all the way through, but still doing some damage. Zerglings, I think, even managed to pick off an armory in there. So, yeah, Light, despite his weapons 2 upgrades on his mech, just kind of being forced into this box, has to go pick up the 6, has to go deny that lower left, and that double gas is just going to allow Effort to pretty much produce whatever he wants. So if Light wants to go for a move, he has to go for a move right now. There's a lot of siege tanks out there, single eyes to support, trying to make sure that not too much harassment happening to him. But he has to go and move out and do something right now, because he's taking damage, and the longer the game goes on right now without Light being able to do much damage to his opponent, Effort is going to steamroll, because his economy is going to become steadily stronger. He's going to get additional gas. He's going to start mining a lot. That 9 o'clock position and that lower left hand are such big factors. Effort really doesn't have them quite saturated yet. Didn't even have this inside 9 o'clock, but that 9 o'clock and the lower left hand, if they're allowed to mine, if they're allowed to give the resources they can give, Light will be in trouble. But it does seem like he's produced a nice Army has a lot of science vessels. Pretty much his entire science vessel fleet throughout this entire game has not been contested. Only he's really been producing from one starport, not been producing too many of them. So he only has, what, 5 or 6, but still they've given him a lot of irradiates to work with. But now he's going to be facing a lot more defowers than he did a bit earlier on. He was using most of those irradiates on these Guardians, but now he has to make sure he can irradiate those defowers at all times. Has a lot of those siege tanks out there. Get those mines there to slow down your opponent. Has to work on this base at the 9. Has to spot the left hand. He doesn't know about it yet already. Sometimes it would have been nice to see the first person view, but hey, what am I gonna do? And this is, of course, the position you love on Polaris Rhapsody as a Zerg player. Sometimes, depending on the situation, maybe, but sometimes that 9 o'clock position is insanely easy to hold. Just a Dark Swarm on top of everything and do a bunch of damage. This whole left position gonna get shellacked. So Light spotting that out, just a few vultures in there, and the drone's all going to go down. Bunch of Dark Swarms, meanwhile, near that 9 o'clock position, just to try to break out of there. There is I think I saw a Nidus in there. Just the followers, Zerglings, and the lurkers. Meanwhile, just these vultures. 3 creep colonies, all going to morph. Oh, man! Whoa, 3 creep colonies, the lower left in position, morphed, and that was a bunch of Scourge hitting a bunch of Science Vessels. That was Light entire fleet go bye-bye. That's bad. Still getting some mines in there. We not quite managed to pick off the hatchery at the low left position, but still doing a little bit of damage. And finally going to pick up the 6 for himself. I think he's floating his command center near there. Still getting damaged here a little bit. Unfortunately, with siege tanks out there, unless you have auxiliary forces close to them, they're really a danger to you. And Light actually distance mining. Yeah, they're just now floating his command center. Distance mining at 6 o'clock. And still managing to hold a little bit near his... Yeah, still managing to hold his 3 o'clock position. And siege tanks and then a bunch of mines and turrets to help out. Needs to get some more Goliaths and Vultures out there. Still pumping out tanks. And I think at this point this might be to go for the lower left-hand position. Deny the double gas. Deny the double gas. You do not want a Zerg to have 2 double gas. It's not really even mining yet, so... Light has the right idea, get it there, get it going, get it down, take it down before it threatens you. Something like that. Gonna siege that. Meanwhile, pick up his 6, and I love his play. He's mining very little. His real lifeline is his 3 o'clock and maybe his 6, but now he's gonna be facing a big threat in these mutas. No Goliaths anywhere! 1 single turret. That's not gonna do it, and those siege